This morning, my wife said to me, she said, "Boy, you must really want to go this morning." Because we didn't sleep much, our air conditioner broke, and every time I opened the window I started to sneeze. I said yes, and I realized that one, I needed to get work done, and two, I just wanted to introduce Mitch. I realized that that was something that I wanted to do. So let me turn the clock back a little bit. I'm just going to wing this. I didn't really prepare anything, but it was 20 years ago. This very brash 35-year-old, approximately, right? Met this quite brash 42-year-old, and I even forget how we met, to be perfectly honest. You don't know? Okay. And Mitch spoke in front of a group of people that worked, for me and with me. And this is kind of interesting. Fast forward, he made a great impact. It was a great day. Mitch made a great impact to help these people improve their business. Fast forward to, maybe about a year ago, we had a little contact in between, but not much at all, for 20 years. And I had a project that I wanted to do, and I started to think about who, would be good to help me with this project. So as I do, I just grabbed my Rolodex. I'm very old-fashioned. I won't let anybody touch this. It's on index cards. It's not on computer. My wife says I should sleep with it. No. So anyway, and I started to go through it, and I got through the A's, and that's as far as I got. Because at the end of the A's was Mitch. And I said, huh. So I called him, and I realized today, just standing here, that there were probably other forces at work in not going past A. I've met a lot of people over the years because of what I do. My Rolodex is as long as my arm. And but I stopped right there. So I called Mitch. We reconnected, my fellow Sagittarian, I think December 2nd. Is that right? And here we are today. So what happened was, in kind of thinking about this, I asked 3 people who were there that day, 20 years ago, if they remembered Mitch Axelrod. It was 20 years, one time. All 3 remembered. Okay. They said, yeah, right away. Remember it. One of them, I've spoken of before, Tom was amazing. Very close to me, and they remembered you explicitly. Well, that said a lot. What did it say? It said that Mitch made a great, great impact. The last 20 years, for people to remember from one time seeing him. We go to seminars all the time. So the one word is impact. So Mitch, for some reason, I don't even remember this. I don't even remember how I got you into here, but it just kind of flowed, I guess. And so Mitch made a great impact here. And Mitch was going to make an impact this morning, but this isn't, mark my words, this is not the last impact. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce Impact Man.
Thank you, Sebastian. I've given about 3,500 talks over the past 30 years or so, and people always ask me, don't you get nervous? And I say, yeah, every single time. There was a famous baseball player who used to throw up before games every time he pitched. So I don't get nervous about speaking. It's more anxiety and excitement and enthusiasm for the greatest privilege in the world, which is the opportunity to make a difference in the life of another human being. I read Stephen Covey's book about 20 years ago, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and the one line that jumped out at me was, to touch the soul of another human being, is to walk on holy ground. To touch the soul of another human being is to walk on holy ground. And so for me, my life has all been about touching the souls of human beings. And actually how I got to Seimei was Rich asked me if I would be willing to help out and do a little bit of consulting or support, and that's really where it started, and it was 1 year ago this month. So this is like the 1 year time frame. And what's happened over this past year is so far beyond what I could have potentially or possibly thought could happen, that there's no size of the mind that could hold what's transpired. And so today I want to do my best to give back as much as I can, and I want to share a prosperity plan. And I was up late last night thinking about what could I possibly say here that would make a difference, be of value, and give you the opportunity to walk out of here different than when you walked in, which is what happened to me over the past year at Seimei. I had absolutely no intention of being part of the organization. I was just here to help, support, do some marketing and consulting and coaching, and I just got hooked. You know, I got hooked on Seimei. I got hooked on you, I remember Richard Bach, who is one of my favorite authors. He said, "Your true family is not one of blood, but one of appreciation and respect in each other's lives." And I have been more than blessed for many lifetimes to have acquired this new family I call Seimei, or my Seimei family. So thank you for being an incredible blessing to me. And so now I want to give something back to you. And I'm going to call it the Prosperity Plan, being as this is the month of prosperity. Prosperity has always been something that I've wrestled with, because like Jerry, I have negative attachments to money. Money was never something I really sought. I always looked to give and be of service. And that really has been my philosophy of life and business. So I always had this mixed feeling about money, sometimes pushing it away, sometimes resisting it, sometimes diminishing my own value. Rich and I have had multiple conversations about this. And it was the resistance. You know, resistance is a very difficult thing to overcome, because we're taught from being young to resist and fight. You know, it's almost a fight or flight syndrome. And what I discovered is, as I stopped resisting and allowing things, can we shut that? Allowing things to come, this week would have never happened if not for Seimei, if not for you, and if not for me allowing the goodness. And so if all that comes out of that is you seeing, wow, if Mitch can allow it, maybe I can allow it. And that's really been one of the most significant differences. So I want to share with you 3 models today. And then I'm going to tell you about something I'm creating, a community I'm creating. And I'm going to ask for your support in return, and I'm going to give you support for the rest of my life. And I'll share that with you. And I'm a big fan of what I call the power of 3s. I use the power of 3s and a triangle in almost everything I do. So I'm going to share with you a 3x3 model today, and they're all going to be triangles. And so let's start with the first one, and the first one is you. Ram Dass, some of you might have heard of Ram Dass. Ram Dass said, everything in your life is there for your transformation. Use it. And that fits so well with Seimei, because everything Seimei is transformation. So the first model is you at the center. And many of you have heard me talk about axiology. Axiology is the science and study of human value. Many of you have run your value profile. I've created a model around that I call the model of soul, role, and goal. Okay? Life is 3-dimensional. We have a soul, and I don't mean necessarily the religious soul. So we're gonna use Seimei for that, okay? And your soul is essentially who you be. Your role is essentially your body. And that's what you do. So if you think about it, every day you be, you do, and then your goal, which would analogize to your mind, is where you go. And so